Okay, let's just dive right into a wild thought experiment. Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and, boom, every single person on Earth can suddenly read minds. It's not technology, it's a biological switch that's just been flipped. This would be a revolution so profound, it would change the very definition of what it means to be human.
I mean, really let that sink in for a second. What if your every fleeting thought, every private judgment, every little secret you keep was suddenly broadcast to the world as loud and clear as if you'd shouted it from the rooftops? That's the world we're about to explore. One where the line between your inner monologue and outer speech just vanishes.
So where do we even begin with the consequences? Well, the first and most immediate casualty would be secrets. Universal telepathy means the complete and total annihilation of privacy. It's just over.
You know, your mind is the one place you can be truly, completely alone, right? It's our last sanctuary. But in this new world, that sanctuary is gone. It's an open house. Every unspoken desire, every hidden fear, every petty resentment, it's all visible to everyone. The very idea of a secret wouldn't even make sense anymore.
And here's where it gets really complicated, because this is a classic double-edged sword. On one side, you have this potential utopia. Imagine, radical honesty means perfect empathy is finally possible. All the miscommunication that causes so much pain and conflict, gone. But the flip side, well, it's a dystopian nightmare of unbearable intimacy. Every shameful memory you have is exposed. Your mental boundaries are just erased. You are constantly and painfully on display. Now, this kind of transparency wouldn't just mess with our personal lives. Oh no, it would reshape society from the ground up. So let's talk about what happens to our laws, our governments, and our entire social order.
The promise here is just immense. I mean, think about it. A world with zero deceit. A justice system that's truly infallible because you can see a person's motives directly. No more guessing games with evidence. You could stop wars before they even begin because you'd know the intention behind them. And corruption, it would be wiped out overnight. It sounds almost perfect, doesn't it?
But, and this is a huge but, here's the chilling flip side. In a world where all intentions are visible, the simple act of thinking a forbidden thought could become a crime in and of itself. Freedom of thought, the one freedom we all take for granted, would suddenly be gone.
And this leads to this terrifying new concept: humanity becomes a surveillance species. The state wouldn't just be watching what you do, it would be policing what you think. The mind, once our private sanctuary, becomes the final battleground for any kind of personal freedom.
So, beyond the social changes, let's get even deeper. What would this do to us psychologically? This new reality would challenge the very meaning of what it is to be an individual.
Can you even wrap your head around the noise? The constant, overwhelming flood of other people's consciousness, an endless torrent of fear and longing and distraction and envy. It would be like standing directly under a waterfall of pure thought. Our brains just are not designed for that kind of non-stop exposure.
Neurologically, you could see this unfolding in a few stages. First, we'd just be decoding neural activity, translating thoughts. But then, we'd move beyond that to directly transferring subjective experiences. You wouldn't just know someone is sad, you'd feel their sadness. This would lead to our consciousness synchronizing, until eventually you get the emergence of a global brain, where all of humanity acts as a single massive organism.
And in this new collective, what happens to the individual? Well, the very concept of I would just begin to dissolve. Your ego, that fragile sense of self we all carry around, it would have no reason to exist when all your thoughts and feelings are completely communal.
Our entire culture would be transformed, totally unrecognizable. I mean, art exists to express the things we can't quite put into words, but why would you need it? An artist could just transmit a raw sensation directly into your mind. Communication would become total communion, sure, but we'd lose that space for interpretation, for ambiguity, the very space where imagination lives and breathes. We'd get perfect clarity, but it would be a clarity stripped of all its mystery.
So this brings us to the final core paradox of this whole thing, doesn't it? It's about that fundamental human tension between our desperate desire for connection and our absolute need for separation.
Let's apply this to love, to our most intimate relationships. In one way, it would be purified. No more jealousy, no more deception, no more insecurity, because you'd have absolute certainty. But you'd also lose the thrill of discovery, right? The comfort of small, kind illusions.
Love, instead of being a dance, could become this static, predictable state of total knowing, losing the very tension that gives it all its depth. And this, right here, really gets to the heart of it. We spend so much of our lives trying to break down the walls between us, to connect and understand each other. But maybe those walls aren't a flaw in our design. Maybe they're a necessary safeguard.
Because without those protective boundaries, the things we want the most could end up destroying us. Perfect empathy could start to feel like suffocation. Total unity could lead to the complete erasure of the self. Maybe, just maybe, the limits of our perception are there for a reason, to allow us to be individuals in the first place.
And that leaves us with one last big question. What is it that we're really looking for in each other? Is true intimacy really about knowing everything about another person? Or is it found in the quiet, humble acceptance that we never fully can? And that inside that beautiful, unknowable mystery lies the last refuge of our freedom and maybe the very definition of a soul.